Houston Headhunters, what's up? This is Devon Simeon, aka Dr. Sim, aka the head ball coach, aka call me what you wanna. But no, hey guys, I hope that each and every one of you are doing well. Also, your families. I hope that all your families are in great health and so forth, and your children. Anyone in your family. I hope that all is going well between you guys and your families. One thing about me, I'm big on family. I'm always stressing the importance of family first. Well, God, family, and then everything else afterwards, right? Those are my mottos. Is that I'm a big guy on family and so forth. And every time, if you notice, every time I send a message to you guys, I'm always saying, hey, good morning, good afternoon. Hope that all is well with you and your family and so forth and so on. But that's not why I'm here, but that's just my open monologue. But let's get into the nitty gritty. This is a game recap. I haven't did this in probably about a season and a half. I used to do these a lot. Going back to season 18 and season 17 or so. I used to do these game recaps each week, normally on a Monday or Tuesday after I went back and watched the film of the game that we played. And then I would come in and do a video and break the game down and then send that information over to you guys and so forth. But here we go. So let's start off with week 1 versus the Charleston Predators. Houston Headhunters, we came into that ball game not knowing what to expect from Charleston. Reason being is because we didn't know what Charleston was going to do, whereas it's week 1, no one knows what anyone's really going to do, right? But Charleston actually had a change in positions within their offensive coordinator. So basically what we did is we looked back at some of the film that on games that they did last season, should we say, season 19, and added some of those things that we saw in there into their playbook, and we sim that versus the off season, and we were basically having our way in our sims. And come week 1, let's just go ahead and break it down. So let's just start off with coming out the gates. We had 2 block punts on special teams that really cost us that game. You take away those punts, we put them against the backs and on their side of the field, instead of them having the ball on our side of the field on back-to-back possessions. That can really hurt your defense and actually swing the momentum in any ball game. So those 2 punts were very, very crucial, and they actually really hurt our team. Also, looking at that game, man, we could not stop the backup running back, Hogan or whatever. We did knock out the number 1 running back in Serene Storm, but Hogan we could not contain. We could not contain or stop him defensively, although we did hold him under 100 yards. But we just couldn't stop them from picking up first downs or so forth. Also, Jay Hayden was a headache in that ball game as well. Charleston used their number 1 wide receiver to the best of their ability. They basically did what they needed to do with Jay Hayden, and he was a very great success for that ball club in week 1. Also, let's talk about, we started to come back. We started to gain momentum in the second half of the game. GP Wells takes over the ball game completely with 2 big runs that actually put us back into the game. Kudos to GP, for doing his thing on the ground and getting the team back into the game and giving us an opportunity and a chance to win the game. So not only that, but we got to talk about the negatives on our team, which happened. I think we had 3 turnovers in that game. One coming from a pass in the flats to GP, and GP basically tried to catch it, but I'm assuming that maybe he took his eyes off the ball and start fumbling with the ball, and then the defender actually comes up, picks the ball off, and take it in for a pick 6. You take that pick 6 off the board, Charleston doesn't win that ball game. Also, man, you got to look at that. And then there were 2 more of the picks that was thrown by the quarterback, which I don't call players out. That's something that I don't do, because we're not actually on the field. What's on the field is a replica of us, right? It's an artificial avatar of of us, or and so forth. So I'll never call a player out, but let's just call a spade a spade. We had 3 picks in that ball game that basically put us behind the 8 ball, and we just can't have games like that where we're putting the ball in harm's way. And as I stated in the Discord chat, that I take full responsibility for that game, because there were some things that were implemented into the defensive playbook that we went with a route defensively that we shouldn't have went, or should I say that it was just basically, I'm not gonna say it was a dumb decision, because it wasn't a dumb decision. It was a last minute decision is what it was. So basically what happened was that we ended up not adding the defensive line stunts in our dime formation. So every time Charleston came out in a 4 wide receiver set, we were either in nickel. Well, the goal was to have nickel as our base coverage, not our base coverage, but as our main coverage and wide spreads. Reason being is because we were having a lot of success with the nickel in our sims leading up to the playbooks being turned in or so. So we decided to go ahead and go with nickel as our coverage defense. Right? We still had the 4-3 in there, and we had as our base run defense and so forth, and we had our goal line defense in there as well. So what happened was that when you do go with just a nickel as your coverage, if you have goal line in there, there's a chance or possibility that you're going to be put into a goal line situation. Not into a goal line situation. There's a possibility, and I'm not going to say possibility. Let's take possibility out. The AI is going to look for dime when the offense say, okay, we're going to come out here in 4 or 5 wide receiver set. So the defense and the AI is going to look on the defense. Okay, well, they got 4 wide receivers. Let's call a dime for the defense or so. Well, if there's no dime in there, AI just going to say, okay, any, mini, money, mo. Let's just pick something. And so it puts us in goal line. So if you go back and watch that game, there were several times, man, we were in goal line. And we just got beat, coming out like that. And that was, I take responsibility on that as far as not taking that goal line defense out of the playbook for week 1. But that's that. We did come back, tried to win the ball game, but unfortunately we came up short by 3 points. As you all know, you all have been seeing the ticker. The announcers has been announcing it that not the last 7 games, but Houston's last 6 or 7 losses has all come by a way of 3 points. So what does that mean? That means that we're in ball games. We're not getting blowed out by people, so we're in ball games, but we're just not finishing them out. We're not coming away with the victories in these close ball games. And that's something that we have to get turned around, and that I plan on doing is making sure that, these things get turned around, and that we are in these ball games, when it comes push to shove, in these tight, close games. So let's move on from week 1. Let's go on to week 2. Week 2, we face the DC Dragons. As I stated, I like to do these on Mondays or Tuesday right after the game. So since I missed week 1 of Charleston, or just build the guts up, should I say, to come back on and do these game recaps. Got a lot of positive feedback when I used to do these. So let me know if you guys still like these recaps or so forth. But moving on, DC Dragons. Let's talk about this ball game as well. DC is a very tough team, taking nothing away from DC. I respect Jermaine Smith, also known as Destro, Lord Destro, or some of us in the community still call him president of the SFL, although he does not hold that title, but we still call him Prez, real great guy, cool friend of mine, and so forth. But let's get to the ball game. I knew this was going to be a pretty decent matchup. We always have good matchups versus DC. They're always close games, as you all know, that the game ended out very close as well. But preparing for this game, we wanted to make sure that we were in this game, and we game plan to win the ball game. Each and every week, that's our plan, is to win the ball game. I never go into a ball game expecting to lose. Never do I do that. Never do I have the doubt in my mind that we're going to lose a ball game. Never. So let's talk about it. Actually, defensively versus DC, I think we played very well than most people would say defensively versus DC because, and what I mean by that is that versus their run game, we held DC under 100 yards when they have one of the best running backs in the SFL to date in Kevin Say. Although Kevin Say did have one big run of 59 yards on us, prior to that 59-yard run, Kevin Say had a total of 10 yards rushing. And that was all the way into the second quarter. I think the game really didn't start getting interesting until the second quarter or so, right? So let's talk about, let's start off where things really kind of got rocky for us as the missed field goal by Sonny J. Sonny J all last season did not miss a field goal at all. And this field goal attempt was from 50 yards, but also remember that there were high winds in the game. So we were kicking against the wind at this point of time, and Sonny kicked the ball. It comes up short. Wasn't wide left, nor was it wide right, but we just came up short on that kick due to kicking the ball into the wind. So I like to make sure my head is straight. That's just OCD. Sorry, but anywho. But anywho, man, going back to the game. So after that happened, the next assuming play, DC gets the big run from Kevin Say. So I'd have notes here for this game. So let's talk about on the first drive. Talk about the interceptions. We threw a total of 5 interceptions in this game. 5, guys. We can't have 5 interceptions in any game in this league. It's just, it's not acceptable, and that falls on me as the offensive coordinator, But our first pick came on our first drive. Ball hits MSG in the back, and the defense catches it and runs a few yards up the field. We hit the guy. He fumbles the ball. DC jumps on the ball again, and they contain possession. So the commentators stated that the ball hit the defender in the back. I say it hit MSG in the back, but I'm not really. You bad can really tell. But to me, it looked like it hit MSG in the back, and that's just a bad throw, on the QB. But that's that. DC first touchdown comes in the second quarter at Houston 5-yard line. DC come out and split back twins. Josh Rowe come down to cover over the slot. So let's talk about this. DC comes down and split back, then twins formation. Okay, Josh Rowe comes down to cover the slot receiver. So we're in the 4-3 defense. We're 4 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, right? So if we're in zone coverage, what the AI does is the side of the ball that has the twins, it would either drop down the free safety or the strong safety. So DC comes out and split twins. And they're on the strong side of the defense, which bring down our strong safety, Josh Rowe. Josh Rowe is down in the box covering the slot guy, right? So, ball is hike. Josh Rowe steps up, and he's in coverage, but he passes the defender off to someone behind him as a cornerback would do. But what Josh Rowe, you're the safety. Normally you're the guy on the back end who's actually picking up when someone is being, passed off to you. Well, there's nobody behind Josh Rowe because he's the safety who's supposed to be originally back in coverage, but now he's playing in the slot as a slot corner, and he passes him off. There's nobody there. Bam, DC scores the touchdown. As I stated, Josh Rowe passes him off to no one. He's the safety. He has to stay with that man, but that's just the AI of APF. That's what it does. Let's talk about Houston's first touchdown. Comes on a screen pass to GP Wells from the 5-yard line late in the second quarter. Let's talk about this touchdown. I really like this touchdown from GP's because GP was dead to rights, hit either behind the line of scrimmage or right at the line of scrimmage after catching that ball. He puts on a spin move, runs upfield, another defender is flying his way, bounce and spin off that guy, boom, runs it into the end zone for a touchdown there. We spoke on the missed field goal attempt from Sonny J from 50 yards out. We were 4th and 1. I think we should have went forward on 4th and 1. If it was a real ball game, I would have went for it on 4th and 1 on our side of the field. I mean, on DC side of the field where we're in scoring position or so, right? But if you're in college football, you're most definitely going for 4th and 1 on the opposing team side of the field. DC scored their second touchdown after the missed field goal, 59-yard run by Kevin Say. Then after that, DC does pick up the they do get points on the board right before the half, and then second half we were just kind of like back and forth or so, but we were down in that game, and we came back in that game and took the lead, and we left 40 seconds on the clock, and leaving those 40 seconds on the clock gave DC an opportunity to march downfield, kick a field goal, send it into overtime. Let's talk about overtime. We get the ball, and we're moving downfield. And I kind of feel good about what I'm seeing, right? And then there's a pass thrown into double, triple coverage or so. Well, there's a tip ball. I'm not sure. I can't remember if the ball tipped off of the receiver or the hands of the defender. And then the ball was caught by a defender of DC. DeSantis of DC, this guy had 3 picks on us. 3 out of the 5 picks that we thrown came from DeSantis, who's a pretty decent. Well, he's a great. Shall I say he's a decent safety. But yeah, they look like an all-pro versus us on Sunday night. Going into that game, I think he only had 3 picks of his career. I think he's been around for about 4 seasons or so, if I'm not mistaken. But continuing on with the overtime. In overtime, we had DC 3rd and 18, guys. 3rd and 18, and they convert the third and 18. So let's talk about that. Defensively, we were in the great. Well, I mean, not great. We were in great shape defensively. If you ask me, we came out in the great formation, the right formation, should I say? But also, let's talk about what happened on that play. So DC comes out in 5 wide receiver set, empty, no running back at all on the field. The name of the formation actually was gun tray open. And they run the famous play out of gun tray open, which is 50 XA posts, which every team basically have in their playbook. So when the 3 wide receivers that was on the weak side of the defense, the 4 out wide receiver runs opposed to the corner. Okay, so the guy on our defensive side of the ball who's covering that guy is Corey Minner. And Corey, I'm not picking on you, but I'm gonna inform you why that play was successful. So if you go back and you look at that particular play in overtime, Corey, the AI had you lined up to the inside of the receiver. It's like the AI said, okay, well, I'm gonna take away the inside, He can have the outside, but I'm gonna take away the inside, so I'm gonna line up inside of this wide receiver, right? So if your corner lines up inside shoulder of that wide receiver, and he's running a post to the corner or to the sideline, should I say, that wide receiver is gonna win that route every time, and that's why teams have that play in their playbook. That's the reason why I had it in my playbook. If I'm not mistaken, I'm probably one of the first to have that play in my playbook in that particular formation, is because that corner to the post, that post to the corner is dominant, is OP. If that cornerback is lined up to the inside shoulder of the wide receiver. So I'm coming up on 19 minutes, guys. This is pretty long here, but I'm going to say we our next week matchup, we play Monday night versus Mexico City. So we're going to be primetime live. The commissioner, Cameron Irvine, will be broadcasting our game. Let's flood let's flood the chats with Houston Headhunters. And I want to also give props to the scout team, guys, who's helping me do scouting and so forth. Thank you guys so much. But we're playing against Mexico City. Mexico City is a team that loves to run the ball, but man, they can beat you throwing the ball as well. So also, I like to call Mexico City, a high tempo team. Although they look like they play slow, but they are a high tempo team, you know. And what I like to call it, or what we like to do versus high tempo teams like that, we like to BTF and CTF. That's blitz their formation and cover the formation that they love so much. So I know exactly what Mexico City likes to do, and you best believe that I'm on top of it. Defensively, we will come to play. We look to shut Mexico City down. You in for a dogfight. We're not losing this ball game. I guarantee. I'm not going to say I guarantee it. I was about to say it. I mean, that's how I feel. I want to guarantee this win so bad because I don't want to lose. We cannot go 0-3 to start the season. We're 0-2. You know, I feel really, really bad that we are in this situation where that we're 0-2 versus two teams that we could have beat. We lost both of those games by a total of 3 points. We're 0-2. I looked it up yesterday. Out of all teams that are 0-2, we have the highest scoring 4 out of all 0-2 teams of 51 points. We gave up 57 points in our 2 losses. You subtract 51 from 57, it's a total of 6 points. Both ball games we lost by field goals. We should have won both of those games, guys. So let's come out Monday night, flood the chats, show up with our Headhunters pride. We got to get things rolling, guys. And I'm telling you right now, dead to rights, man. I'm in the lab, dude. I may not be in there right now because I'm at my desk working. I work from home, for those of you who don't know. But there's a simulation going on upstairs, and it's running. And I guarantee you that I'm going to go up there, and I'm going to do a replay on every single play in that game because I'm not watching it right now, but I have to watch it in order to know what's going on, right? I'm going to go up there and I'm going to watch every single replay, and I'm going to find out where the holes are offensively and defensively, and they will be removed. Hey guys, this is your owner, head coach, offensive coordinator, wide receiver, Damon Simeon, a.k.a. Dr. Sim, a.k.a. the head ball coach. I stole that from Steve Spurrier. You know, the head ball coach is what they call him. I've always liked that nickname, so I picked it up along the way. But yeah, that's me, man. Thank you guys so much for being part of this team. Let me know if you like these game recaps. I know it's kind of long. This is coming up on 22 minutes or so, and I'm going to end this one right now. Thank you guys for being part of the Houston Headhunters. See you when I see you. Peace.